Hey, it's Paula Hines, Lonergan, and time's up for me to be silent. But I'll be honest with you, when I decided 6 months ago, give or take, maybe 7 months or so, that I was going to do YouTube videos about the abuse that I suffered and the healing that I've gone through, I knew that I was undertaking something that everybody calls courageous because I realize it's pretty bold to come out with your own truth. I did it for myself because the Courage to Heal book says if you speak publicly, that's a way to continue the healing. So that was my main reason, and this is the venue that I decided to use to share. But as I'm more open about what happened to me, not just in this media or medium, I should say, but in my interchanges with others. I mean, even as I discuss caring for my mother with Alzheimer's is a part of my life, experiences that I've had. My dad was really, really sick and then he died. I mean, that's part of my current life, part of my history. My abuse that I suffered at the hands of my uncle is part of my history. And even though it is the past, it still has affected me to this day. So that being the case, like I said, I discuss it even as I discuss other things. Time's up for me to be silent. But last week I got an affirmation of the importance of not being silent, of me, Paula Hines Lonergan, speaking the truth. Met a young lady, and we were, I never didn't really know her, so we were just catching up on, who we were as people, our backgrounds. We like talked about everything. It was like, sometimes you meet someone and you're instantly friends, you instantly have that connection and you have an openness to share. And you know, I just, in brief, mentioned to her my, history, experiences, suffering abuse. And she's like, wow, you told your parents. And she says, why did you tell your parents? And I explained to her my reasons, for telling my parents back in 2010. But then she proceeds to relay to me that there was a young person in her family that she suspects is being abused by her stepbrother. And I won't go into the details, but every indication was that this was taking place. On page 340 of the Courage to Heal book, in the section on children and parenting, there's on 340 though, there's an experience about this gentleman, young man, deacon in the church, who was abusing a lady's daughter, you know, and it started off, oh, let me help you, let me encourage you, and then it turned into abuse. The deacon was abusing this woman's daughter, and of course the mother of this daughter took steps to stop it. I don't remember the details, but it ended up that this deacon in the church had not just molested or was abusing her daughter. Another mother in the church says, oh, he was doing the same thing to mine. The thing of it is that abusers typically do not have one victim or one person that they abuse. And the person that I was engaged with in talking last week was talking about her cousin who she thinks is being abused by her stepbrother. But there were two other daughters in that family. And I had to be upfront with my new friend and tell her that this stepbrother was probably abusing them all, and that's kind of the reality. Now, the person, my new friend, was considerably younger than me. And when I was 21, I wasn't talking about my experiences, and I could not have been a help to others. But at 51, it's my goal to help others. And I encourage this young woman to advocate for her cousin, who's just a teenager. Children are unable to have the vocabulary to express what they are experiencing, but there's hints. They give indications. Sometimes they act out, and that's an indication that something is going wrong and they need help. Sometimes they need to be rescued. And this young cousin of my new friend needs to be rescued. She cannot, as an adult, keep silent, or at least I hope she won't. Because abuse goes on in families. And as adults, we need to be alert and aware, not fearful, and speak up and advocate for any child that also may be abused. There are signs sometimes, and we just don't want to assume or think the worst. But unfortunately, the worst is what happens. And just hearing this young woman's experience and knowing that it had been on her mind to advocate for her little cousin, and the fact that I was able to share my experience and give her information and guidance and encouragement to do her part, step up and advocate. I'm glad that time's up for me to be silent, because I hope in my speaking up to her and in my speaking up in this video that I'm preventing or perhaps stopping another child from being abused. Time's up for me to be silent. My email is timesupforsilence@gmail.com, or my contact information is in the box. Let's talk. Let's advocate. Let's heal.